Does this look a little something like you? Found an idea in you that's driving you to make videos? You've got a song, a story, a tutorial, or maybe even some plants you want to show off.
Wow, nice plants. Should probably make a video about them or something. Thanks. I'm trying to.
You've tried filming some things on your own, but you're not really sure what exactly you're doing. And you've searched far and wide, but it's all a little too much.
Hey Google, how do I start making YouTube videos?
Go on YouTube and search up anniedxng's video on how to start a YouTube channel.
Okay, I guess.
So, you want to start a YouTube channel and you're a complete beginner that wants someone to guide you step by step on how to do it. Well then, take out a notepad and a pen because we're about to dive into it. In this video, I want to dive into the most important things when starting a channel. From mindset, insight on the actual process, and advice to help you start your journey. And pay attention because this will be on the test. Start before you're ready. And let me tell you why. Naturally, as humans, we have this fight or flight response, right? And it kicks in whenever we're in danger. But for the specific situation here, we're just trying to make videos for our YouTube channel. We're not actually putting ourselves into any serious danger, but our brain can't tell the difference. So when we put ourselves into uncomfortable positions, this fight or flight response gets us anxious, nervous, scared, and we'll make all sorts of excuses as to why we can't start. Then eventually we start to procrastinate and convince ourselves so well that we push our entire YouTube project away, like we end up not even starting. And we end up making excuses such as,
oh, I live next to some construction and it's way too loud. I'm currently in school and I should just wait until I finally graduate to start. Well, I work 9 to 5, so I can't possibly make more time to work on YouTube.
all to save us from the uncertainty of success and failure. And all those excuses are valid, sure, but sometimes we gotta ask ourselves the following question. What's more important? Your why? Why you want to post videos? Why you want to share your story and help others with your content? Or your excuses? It comes down to a decision, guys. A choice. The choice to start, despite the excuses you and others will make. The choice to put aside 1 hour after work to dedicate to scripting, editing your videos, and the choice to skip out on Friday night out with the girls to work on your channel. And then continually choosing it. Honestly, guys, like if I waited until I was finally ready, I would have never started. Because when I reflect back to how and where I first started, I was recording in a very small space. When I didn't have a good camera to record on, I was just using my phone. And if you're from Philly, you already know that the loud dirt bikes literally make it into every single recording that you make. And although I'm not living in that space anymore, I still find myself making excuses from time to time in this new space as well. So there really is no end, and there is no perfect moment when you'll finally be ready. So start before your mind thinks that you are. Forget the numbers. So yes, throw that away, put that in the trash, get that out of here, and ask yourself the following question. What would you create if nobody was watching? 0 expectations, 0 viewers. The reason we should ask ourselves this question is to get us into this free mindset. You're more likely to be more authentic and create what you truly want and find the kind of people that are meant to watch you. When you're just starting out, there literally is no need for comparison and no need to track your analytics closely all the time. If you're starting a channel thinking about like, oh, what kind of content is gonna make me the most money, and chase after the things that will get you the most views instead of making things that you're truly passionate about, you're gonna get burnt out really quick. And if you're just posting for fun, obviously just ignore all of this. But if you're trying to build a channel that's gonna actually stick around, it is a marathon and a long-term commitment. And if you're running at an insanely unsustainable pace, or in this case, making videos for the wrong reason, you won't make it till the end. And the thing is, numbers can easily take over your life if your head isn't in the right space. Even your self-worth can end up being attached to it. Like, for example, your channel's doing well and you get all of this validation. But after a while, your content gets a little less views than before, and you start to think, is it something wrong with me? Is it what I'm saying? What am I doing wrong? Even if you've been doing the same thing you've always been doing, but it's only natural that numbers fluctuate and channels have their moments. And perhaps before you were even excited you had 50 subs, now you're hitting 100,000, 100,000, and now the 50 subs don't even matter. So numbers are quick dopamine. You get more and more, and eventually your dopamine receptors are gonna get fucked over. But as soon as they go down, which yes, they will, you're mentally gonna crash if numbers were the only thing that drove you forward. Which is why it is so important to actually prioritize and love the process. Because at the end of the day, even if your video flops, even if your channel isn't doing any better, it's still gonna be a win for you because you're still doing the things you love and you're still having fun and you have that video that you're still so proud of. I know it's easy to get discouraged at the very start because resistance is super strong, but as long as you focus on the process and the real reason why you do what you do, it'll be so much easier to stick through it. Expect to fail. Okay, no, I'm not trying to say that your YouTube channel as a whole will not succeed, but will you countlessly make mistakes and mess up a whole lot while running this channel? Yes, absolutely. It's all about learning from your mistakes, knowing how to take criticism, adapting, and not seeing your failures as drawbacks. If anything, they're stepping stones that are essential to your success. Because without the mistakes, there's no self-reflection, and without any self-reflection, how could we possibly grow and improve? So expect your first video to be the worst, expect your next 100 to be meh, too, but trust that each mistake you make was a lesson and each upcoming video gets better and better over time. So if you expect failure, you won't be disappointed. Now, on to the practical things you must know about starting a channel. Finding your niche. You don't have to find the niche that you stick with forever, marry, have kids with, take to the grave. No, but you can start off with just a general idea. And if you don't have any ideas, just start posting things that you like. And I mean literally like anything. Because as you post, you'll eventually figure out what it is that you like and what you don't like. And I know there's lots of pressure out there that says you have to know exactly what you are as a channel, and resistance would probably tell you too to figure out your calling before posting, and all that overthinking is gonna lead you to eventually just not post at all. But let's say you already have a general idea that you want to refine even more. Instead of narrowing down and niching very hard, here's something that I think would be more helpful for you in the long term. So I suggest you think about your preferred target audience. So what do they look like? What kind of people are they? And what kind of things are they interested in? Like, deeply understand them, then make videos for them. And funny enough, 99% of your target audience is just probably yourself. If you make content for a person, you can agree that they have loads of interests, like, for example, a student. They might like note-taking videos, but that might not be the only thing they're interested in. They might also like laptop and iPad setups, notebook reviews, or even productivity tips and advice. So it's so much easier to branch out to all sorts of video ideas. And because you're making videos for this kind of person, all these videos will naturally cohere. While if you were to make videos for a certain genre or a topic, you know, like getting too specific, it might box you in and it might be a little too hard to break out later on down the line. And as you keep that target person in mind and stick with it, those type of people are gonna find you and your videos and they'll wanna stick around. Establish your brand. Okay, you don't have to do this right away. Maybe you just want to focus on uploading and just getting your channel off of the ground, and that's cool too. And if so, do that. Just keep this in the back of your mind and just revisit it whenever you feel like you're ready to actually tackle this. But let's say you're already a few videos in, you're comfortable, or if you're ready to tackle this head first before you even start, you know, do this because it's gonna help you so much in the long run. Figure out what it is that makes you different. Maybe you plan on making covers, but you have that pink microphone that you always pull out. Maybe you film on that same staircase, or maybe it's the style of your content and you make really minimalistic type of thumbnails. You know, whatever it is, keep doing it because repetition is what creates this brand of yours. The key here is predictability. People love it when they know what they're gonna get. And it's kind of like building trust, right? Like once people trust you, they'll continue coming back for your stuff. But ultimately, you don't need to worry about the unity from piece to piece, because if you stay true to whatever it is that you are and what you're here for, what unifies all of your work is gonna be the fact that you made it. Recording. Okay, so let's get into recording. Obviously, there's lots of things that fall under this topic, like equipment and setup, but I'll more so talk about the essentials when it comes to recording. All you really need is something that can record video, of course. So if you have a smartphone, use it. If you have a camera, even better. But what I've learned over the years of being on YouTube is that it isn't about the kind of equipment that you have. It's all about mastering what you have. And there's like plenty of videos out there on how to maximize the usage of whatever you have and making sure that you're using the best settings for your setup. So don't feel like you need the coolest LED lights or lens, because it's not gonna matter if the content itself isn't up to par. I think if I were to decide what is more important, like camera or lighting, to me it'd be lighting, because even with like the best camera, you're gonna get shitty results if you don't have good lighting. So just keep that in mind before you make any sort of big purchase. Like, is it my camera, or do I just need to record next to a window, or maybe do I need to just drag in that lamp, right? Recording videos for the first time can be very nerve-wracking for a lot of people, especially if you're talking directly to the camera like this. Speaking on camera doesn't come naturally to anyone, really. It's a built skill. Like, I wish I had the behind the scenes of my first speaking video. I was a mess, guys. If you're planning on speaking directly to a camera, I suggest like doing some practice shots first. You can film a test video just fleshing out what you want to say, and then going back, seeing how you did and how you can improve. If you tend to blink out once you're on camera, I know, because I do this a lot, having a script or just taking a few notes on what you want to say really helps. So maybe even having a teleprompter to help you with your lines can be a good investment. And if speaking on camera isn't what you want to do, you don't need to do that. You can do voiceovers, animations, or even videos totally driven by B-roll, you know? Some tips for recording that saves me so much time is having a shot list. If I plan to shoot B-roll or do some sort of acting skit, I spend like a couple hours before making sure I visualize what I want in my video before hitting the record button. When I first started off, I used to just record everything. Like, I'd shoot all this B-roll, and sometimes the B-roll doesn't even fit my video or what I'm trying to say. So just take note of what shots you actually need and then execute it. Editing. Now, unless you're apologizing on YouTube and want to capture all the raw moments of you crying, always edit your videos. Editing is a whole skill of itself, and it could go down a deep rabbit hole trying to learn all these plugins and all these effects, but when it's done right, it does help tell the story, it sets the momentum, and it helps the viewers understand what's going on. And the right editing software will make the process of telling that story a lot easier. But when you're starting off, you don't necessarily need to do all that super special crazy editing, and you don't need the best software out there, because sometimes a little goes a long way. First, try to understand what kind of content you want to create, and then what kind of editing it entails. That's gonna decide what you need to use and what kind of skills you'll need to build and learn. Like, when I first started, I was just recording like music and song covers, so I actually used an app on my phone to edit, since all I needed was to slap some audio onto some footage of me playing my guitar. And there are some really great apps out there like LumaFusion, which is what I used back then, and it makes it really easy to edit some multi-tracks. iMovie, which is free, and of course, if you feel like your workflow requires something more advanced, there's Final Cut Pro X on the Mac, which is what I use now, and I find it super easy to use, but at the same time, it's just challenging enough with all the advanced tools. There's Premiere Pro, of course, and DaVinci Resolve, and so much more. But before you invest into anything, just use the program and skill set that you already have. Thumbnails and titles. This is arguably the most important aspect to your videos. It's what determines whether or not people even want to click on your video. It's a sneak peek into the value proposition, and it's the cover to the book. You're basically trying to sell the video before people even watch it, and if the title or thumbnail isn't convincing enough or it doesn't interest them, even if it's the best video you've ever edited, they're not gonna watch it because people have no idea if it's a video they'll be interested in. Most people decide literally within seconds whether or not they want to watch something, and it's all determinant on the initial impression of the video. My one tip for you is to not settle with the first thing you come up with. Make lists and write down as many title ideas and thumbnails as you can for that topic. Was this title used before? And if it was, how did it perform? When I look at all these thumbnail ideas, like, which one is the one that my eyes gravitate towards? Then go through your list and then choose the one that you think will perform the best. Like, you can even plug in your titles into an online tool that judges its searchability and see how it scores. Last but not least, upload and upload anyways. For some, uploading is probably the easiest part. Like you just hit the upload button and you don't think twice about it. But for a lot of us, actually, the final stretch of the marathon is probably the hardest part. Resistance always kicks in when you're like this close to finishing something that's important to you. You might even start doubting whether or not the video you spent hours on was any good. Or maybe you noticed that little tiny mistake and you think it's better off that you spend more hours trying to perfect it. But at the end of the day, done is better than perfect. No one's gonna notice that little mistake but you. Instead of wasting hours perfecting your video, even if there's tons of mistakes, even if you look awkward as heck recording, upload anyways. You can use all those extra hours and dedicate them to your next project. What's more important is getting yourself out there and fixing those mistakes eventually as you go. And in the words of Austin Kleon, it's in the act of making things and doing your work that we figure out who we are. So create lots, upload lots, and you'll eventually figure out what works and doesn't work for you. And of course, after you get the hang of uploading, getting into the groove of uploading consistently on a schedule is going to be essential for growing your channel. But I mean, that's a whole nother topic out there, and we're not going to cover that today. I know that starting can be very intimidating, and I've gotten loads of questions from you guys asking how I have the courage to upload, or even how I've gotten good at what I do. And honestly guys, like, I'm still figuring it all out. Still not the best, but I know that it just needs to be good enough. And I've gone back and cringed at literally all of my old videos. That just goes to show that it just takes a lot of practice and a lot of time. So the best time to start is now. Not when you finally learned how to do that fancy transition, not when you finally have the best camera, but now. I hope this video was helpful for you guys, especially to all the beginners and those that are just starting. Hi, I see you and I want to check you out. So if you're just starting your channel, comment an orange heart below so I know and so others know too, because we just want to create this very supportive community. Anyways, we got this. I believe in us, and thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!